Hello Astro subscribers, and welcome back to another video of the Exalted and Debilitated Planet series. Today we're going to be talking about Venus, and if you want to know what an exalted and debilitated planet is, you can check out the other videos in this series, and I will do my best to describe it shortly here. So, an exalted planet is where a particular planet, or in astrology, since the planets correspond to subpersonalities, an exalted planet is the place in the sky where that subpersonality is most comfortable. So if you look at the houses and signs as archetypes, or places that you go through in your life, like the ninth house being education, the fifth house being like your own family and children, your second house being your like childhood and your finances, your fourth house being your home, etc. Certain subpersonalities are at home or are more comfortable in certain places. So, as an example, the sun is more comfortable in the first house, which is your body, because the sun likes to be the hero of the story, and your body obviously would rather be like identified as the hero of its own story than being in the seventh house, where it's debilitated, where it feels like it has to compromise and you give up your root chakra, your life energy, for relationships for other people. So the sun is not comfortable in that position. Likewise, Mercury is very comfortable in the sixth house, or the sign of Virgo, which also represents the sixth house, because Virgo is logic, it's planning. Mercury is your intelligence, so therefore your intelligence is clearly at home in the area which is rules logic and planning and all these things where the intelligence is best applied. And Mercury is debilitated in the sign of Pisces, where that's your imagination and all the things that you don't understand and don't know, and therefore have to represent in artistic or theoretical philosophy. So it's also your dreams. The logical mind is very uncomfortable in the dream world of Pisces, where it has to create something new as opposed to understand and implement a routine. So, with this being said, let's get into the planet Venus, which represents your desires, your relationships. Especially if you're a male, it represents your female friends if you're female. But it represents relationships for women as well. It also represents your relationship with money, food, music, everything that you like for pleasure, basically. So that's basically Venus. And Venus has the exact opposite exaltation and debilitation placement as Mercury. So where Mercury, which is your logical intelligence, is comfortable in Virgo, Venus is the most comfortable in Pisces, and is uncomfortable in Virgo. And this can be confusing for some people, because most people, when they think about Venus, they think of a very materialistic planet, right? All the stories about Venus is that Venus is very jealous, right? These stories are related to human personality, obviously. And, Venus rules the sign of Taurus, which is all about material pleasure, and a Libra, which is all about negotiation and diplomacy and peacemaking. So why would Venus be exalted in the chaotic sign of Pisces? Well, for this, you really have to understand the deeper nature of Venus. So when people look at Venus as a materialistic planet, they're looking at the short term rather than the long term perspective. Venus in Pisces might not be the most materialistic. It might not be the most beautiful placement for Venus, but what Pisces represents is nature, is the universal spiritual love that is, reserved for such masters and beings as like Jesus and like Gandhi and all these people. And if you think about what Venus really wants, which is devotion, which is carefreeness, which is freedom and artistic expression, and just this sort of universal love that is non-specific, is not conditional on the material plane. So when your love is conditional on the material plane, it's very easily taken away. and this leads Venus to feel very insecure. And as a result of this, when Venus is in the sign of Virgo, their love is very conditional. This doesn't mean that it's not practical or that they won't get very strong materialistic results, because Virgo is a planner. So when your desires are in the sign of logic and planning, you can use your intelligence to get everything you want. But here's the question: where does that end? Where does using your logical intelligence to get material resources ultimately end up? In a never-ending cycle of desire. And that is exactly what Venus in Virgo ends up in, is in a never-ending cycle of desires and endless schemes for new resources. Also, these people feel like they're never worthy of love unless they have money. So Venus in the very materialistic signs, Earth, air signs, Aquarius, to some degree Gemini, Taurus, Libra, Aquarius, these signs, even though they are materialistic signs, Venus is actually mildly uncomfortable in all of these signs. And the most materialistic sign, which is Virgo, is Venus becomes chronically insecure because the love is not dependent on love, it's dependent on materials. And in the sign of Pisces, Venus's love is entirely unconditional. And this can mean that people with Venus and Pisces might not even care very much about their personal appearance. They might never wash their clothes because, again, their love is unconditional. This doesn't mean that people with Venus and Pisces are going to be like dirty or anything, but I have known that people with Venus and Leo and Venus and Virgo are much more interested in their appearance, and as a result, they're much more, at least artificially, beautiful than Venus and Pisces people. Venus and Pisces people, they don't care about their appearance because their love is spiritual, it's unconditional, it's intangible. Whereas somebody with Venus in an earth sign, or especially in Virgo, or even in an air sign to some degree, their love is very conditional, whether on somebody's intelligence, if Venus is in an air sign, or in somebody's, their material appearance in an earth sign. And the other thing about material appearance is that materials come and go. They will always fade. They only have the illusion of permanence, whereas if your love is intangible, it can't be taken away from you. So that's actually why Venus is exalted in the water signs, and especially in the sign of Pisces, and is debilitated in the sign of Virgo. So that was my analysis of Venus in Pisces, and the Venus in Virgo conversely. And next time I'll be talking about Mars. So tune in for that.